Welcome to the Teachers Lounge. I'm Ben Heckathorn, Teach, Lead, Inspire. I work with schools every day, and this podcast is a place teachers and leaders can edu-chat, grow your understanding of topics, hear stories, get motivated, and contribute to the discussion. The purpose of the Teachers Lounge is to encourage education professionals across Australia to teach well, lead well, and inspire. To really hone in on conversations we generally don't have the time to kick around, but should, to get clarity or even formulate your thoughts. So find our Facebook group, The Teachers Lounge, Teach, Lead, Inspire. Let's go! So I've got my 9-year-old son here, Ethan, who is actually homesick today, and he would love to share a few things that he loves about seeing the teachers or principals on yard duty. What do you love about the teachers being out there on yard duty?
Well, they're there and they can help you if you get hurt. And if you do get hurt, the yard duty will come and help you.
That's awesome. And I've got one more question for you as well. And you have to think about it. But what do you think when you see the bright orange vest of the yard duty person? What goes through your head?
Well, if I see the orange jacket, I know that there's a yard duty, and I know that I'm safe. Like, if I fall over, I know that I'll be safe.
Absolutely. And the super last question is, what's your favourite thing about your daddy?
My daddy looks after me because I'm sick.
Today, yes. Thanks very much. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Teachers Lounge podcast, Teach, Lead, Inspire. Ben Heckathorn here, your source of all things chattable in the education space. I work with schools every day and have been fortunate enough to both lead and teach in several schools across Australia. There's some really great schools out there doing really great things. So for now, please visualize yourself on the staff room lounge. You've got this burning topic to soundboard with someone. If you want to chat shop, learn, grow, or find clarity on a topic, you're in the right place. Also, please share or tag the episode if someone springs to mind in this chat. Well, today's topic is yard duty. Like, what a waste of precious time, right? I'm seeing a bunch of thumbs go up at me and those hand clap emojis, high fives or whatever they are. So in my teacher chat Facebook group, one that I'm not banned from, there was a comment around yard duty and the amount of time on average a teacher spends doing this duty before school, recess, lunch, or after school, or little lunch or big lunch for our Queensland followers out there, represent. And it was between 1 to 2 hours a week this time yard duty kind of sits at. And my question is, or questions open for discussion are, is this a waste of teachers' time? Should anyone be exempt from duties? Is it mandatory? Could it be outsourced? If it needs to be done, how can we shift the burden of it into a positive thing? Those that hate it, is it perhaps a mindset holding you back from potentially something good? Wow. All right. Strap in. So we've got a few little conversations to stem out from yard duty. So hopefully this is a topic of interest. It's a topic of definitely edu-chat space, and I'd love to unpack it and kick it around on the Teachers Lounge. So first of all, the main and most important thing probably is the idea that yard duty it's a legal requirement of supervision for a school. So let's look into that a little bit. So yard duty is a mandated duty of care that teachers have to supervise students during breaks. And this underscores the importance of being vigilant and proactive during this time. Hence, so I've gone out early with my my hence today. Hence, yard duty ensures safety. So yard duty is not just about watching over or babysitting students, but it's ensuring their safety. It's preventing accidents and addressing any issues promptly. So yard duty or supervision can prevent conflicts and bullying and other issues before they escalate. And as I'm saying this stuff, you're probably in your own head thinking, oh yeah, actually this has happened, or I've been there before this happened. So, yeah, before things escalate, it also helps maintain a safe and controlled environment. I don't know about you, but simply being present and seeing that high vis yard duty vest can often deter antisocial behaviours. So I've usually worked in prep to 12 schools, and it is interesting to see even the secondary students and primaries as well. You know, you walk around the oval or in a place where mischief can kind of happen, and simply I think seeing the high vis yard duty vest deters people. So it's a preventative measure. And this all kind of packages nicely in this concept of it is a legal requirement of supervision. So yeah, happy to be fact checked on that one. And if requested, I can pull out the Education Act and Fair Work legislation to fact check and prove this. But please don't be that person. Simply, it's a legal requirement. So I think that's enough of the boring stuff there. There is a school, I don't know perhaps you've seen some BTN articles behind the news if you're not in the education space. They ran an article on a New Zealand school, actually. It was called The School with No Rules. And ironically, though, they still had, from the clip anyway, they still had supervision. So there was a yard duty teacher, but the crux of it was they were typically just not saying no to things. So kids were climbing trees, they were climbing fences, they were jumping on scooters and throwing balls around and stuff. But the crux of it was, we're not going to say no to some of this risky behavior because going off some of the evidence, participating in safe risk is it grows strength and resilience in students. Different topic to what we're talking about, but just looking at the legal requirements of supervision, yard duty is there to stay, and it's something that is mandated, needs to be done. So following that, yard duty, a really great comment that came through. It's yard duty is a relationship building opportunity. So have a think about that one. It's relationship building opportunity. And I'd love to unpack this a lot. There's a lot in this comment. Yard duty offers a chance to interact with students outside of the structured classroom environment. And it's connecting with students informally. So it allows for more casual and meaningful conversations. There's a little bit of a different dynamic than classroom dynamics. So just imagine you're on yard duty, you're able to kick the ball around with students, encourage the gymnastics, flips and spins, probably laughing more, smiling. You're getting down to check out the bugs with the 6-year-olds. Many times on duty, kids will always come up and ask to watch them do something. It's this outside of academics, this, I suppose, formal play space where we can connect and build trust. And I intentionally either seek out, when I'm on yard duty, I intentionally seek out a form of restorative relationships. So if one of my students had needed a consequence in class, or if I know something's gone down, I would seek out to follow up that student if it's appropriate, or if they're playing or whatever, I'll probably just leave them. But watch, observe, and more often than not, they'll come out and seek me and have that follow-up chat about what they did wrong and how they can do better next time. And our role on yard duty is to really encourage them in that informal, outdoors, outside of academics space. It's just you, students, and it builds trust. And that's kind of what the next part to flow on with. So these regular positive interactions with students during yard duty can really help build trust and rapport with students. There's a comfortability. Yeah, that's the right word. It makes them more comfortable approaching you with concerns or questions, say into or further into the year, or if there's consequences or detentions or whatever. Now, particularly if you're gunning for a leadership role and may need to, or are already perhaps, getting a wider scope of students that you work with at a different level with discipline and restorative practices, having trust built is essential, which is actually another amazing podcast topic. Boom. I'm probably set for the year here. Now, there's only so much you can do with your time, and this 1 to 2 hours can be an effective use of time to do just that, which is relationship building opportunities. Now, particularly if you're new in a school community, One school I was a part of many, many years ago in Victoria, I was new. So I was the new teacher, and the school community had this cool game that the kids love to do on during recess and lunch called Freeze. You might know this game, or it could be a variant of what you do, but even saying the game Freeze brings back a lot of memories. So, like, the kids would follow you around and hide behind corners of the buildings or trees, and randomly you'd turn around and go, Freeze! And if you caught them, they freeze, as in a statue, not actually freeze, because it does get to sub-zero sometimes in Victoria. So they would freeze and do you catch them and go, all right, 5-star jumps or 10 push-ups or whatever. And sometimes you have 30 to 40 kids following you around your loop of yard duty. And it was great. And even that is connecting informally with students. It's building trust. It's outside academics. And it is one of those pros, I suppose, to yard duty where you go, well, this is actually a really valuable time. But also, yard duty is a great time to observe student social interactions. Also, if you're looking to identify or justify potential issues in parents or in case notes, and you can go out there to support positive behaviour choices. And it's reinforcing also that you care about their well-being beyond the academics. Sometimes we've had a girl or boy issues pop up and needed to do something like recon for another teacher to help document how they're doing relationally outside of the classroom or socially. These are great opportunities as well to do that during yard duty. So observing social dynamics is really useful and effective way to kind of pop into the bucket of yard duty. It builds trust, and it's a way of connecting informally with students in that to build rapport. So along with it being an actual legal requirement, it's a great time opportunity to use time wisely to build relational rapport and catch any observations you need to do. So basically, utilize yard duty as an opportunity. Now, another point that's popped up, more of a question about leaders and yard duties. Now, as I keep mentioning, I've been in several different schools embedded into the communities, and I've seen both scenarios play out. One where leaders do not participate in yard duty, and others where principal is on 3-4 times a week, lunchtime duty out there with the kids. So I've seen both of these scenarios play out. And I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong. It's more of a philosophy, I suppose, of yard duty or culture or engagement. So I sit on a particular side of the fence, and this is one of those teacher's lounge moments where you might completely disagree, you might completely agree, you might not have an opinion, you might have listened to the first point and tuned out, whatever, really. But I'm going to unpack it. So, should key leaders take on duties? Or is their, quote, important job too important to get out there with the kids? Already you can kind of maybe catch a bias that I'm leaning towards in this one. So I'm going to do quote marks again. This kind of section I've kind of labeled visibility and presence of principals and leaders. Now, as I said, I've seen both. I've been on both sides of this coin and had decisions to make on it myself for the structure of a school. So my take is this. Now, when principals and leaders are visible during yard duty, it shows explicitly that they value this aspect of school life and are engaged with the school community. It's modelling engagement from the top down. The direct flip and other side of this coin is verbatimly, if that's even a word, the opposite, regardless of how busy a principal or leader is. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to say it. It's just the opposite of what I just said. Here we go. When principals and leaders are not visible during yard duty, it shows explicitly that they do not value this aspect of school life and are not engaged with the community. Dangerous. Possibly divisive thoughts. So leadership presence or visible presence really reinforces a positive school culture where everyone, including leadership, is actively involved in student life. So we're looking at tangibly looking to build school culture. Now, you might have heard the term approachable, an approachable leader. So I'm going to throw this out there as well. See, being present and approachable during yard duty, particularly for principals and leaders, helps break down barriers between students and leadership, making it easier for students to feel comfortable sharing their thoughts or concerns, among many other reasons. So, an approachable leadership. Now, nothing speaks more volume than this scenario. And I've had it multiple times. And maybe you have as well. Maybe you are a principal or leader and you love this part of the day, like you strive for it. So let's just say grade 1 students, they're finding their principal on duty. They're running around saying, "Hey, Mr. H, come, watch me on the monkey bars." So excitedly. And you do. You got your vest on, you got your little bag, satchel, bum bag or whatever, with the Band-Aids and some timeout cards or office cards. And you do. You go over to the monkey bar area and you champion them on for their little small success of making it halfway over the monkey bars or going down the slide backwards or, I don't know, all the way or skipping a bar. You champion them for their small success. And their little posse of 5 or 6 friends, they see that. They see their principal, Mr. H, and they go home and they tell their parents, "Oh, Mr. H, he came over and watched me do the monkey bars and he gave me a round of applause." They're excited and they tell their family, and then their family, like the parents would tell maybe their family. And there's just hashtag positive vibes everywhere. And from what? It's like 15-minute time investment. So be where you will sit on that spectrum of, principals and leaders leadership should be in their offices and in the staff room doing important stuff. One end of the spectrum, or the other one, like, principals and leaders and every teacher should be out there building community, breaking down barriers between student and leader. And wherever you sit on the spectrum, that's your wrestle. I'm just putting forth a couple of ideas that from experiences and my own thinking and mulling over the topic of yard duty. So with that to say, we're just going to revisit the question dump that I gave at the start. Just one moment. So I've got half lost my voice this week, and I think it's about 2:15 during the day recording this, and a nice little kip of whiskey just does greatness for the voice. I already can kind of hear that huskiness come out. Revisiting the question dump. So, is yard duty a waste of teachers' time? No. We'll just point and shoot these. Should anyone be exempt from duties? No. Well, maybe consider abilities, like if a staff member's broken their leg, within reason, etc. But generally, no one's exempt from duty. Is it mandatory? Yes. Definitely cleared that. Please be the person who goes, "Ben, find that information, please. Really interested." No, don't actually do that. Could it be outsourced? We'll get to that. If it needs to be done, how can we shift the burden? I'm using that word purposefully, of it into a positive thing. So those that hate yard duty, just be rather sitting in the cool. And I can tell you, we're here in Darwin. It is 38 degrees, maybe 41 degrees, 80% humidity. The last thing any of the teachers want to do is go out on duty. But I'm going to get to the word mindset. And yes, I would, if anyone's in Darwin listening, please just simply change your clothes is the best thing to do over the wet season. So flicking back, those that hate it, is it perhaps a mindset holding you back from something good? Well, there's a few great positives over the last 20 minutes that we have just unpacked about the, quote, the burden of yard duty. Let's go back to outsourcing. That just popped up into my head. Outsourcing. I've had a few people say back in the day, which is never the great start of a conversation, but practically committees like Parents and Friends Committee used to schedule themselves on to give teachers a break. Now, if you've listened to the whole podcast thus far, I think you'll find I would fundamentally disagree with outsourcing this opportunity, as tantalizing as it might be to have grandparents or parents that aren't working come in and relieve us of time so we can sit in the staff room and top on the teacher's lounge, watch YouTube or have some water or something. I don't know. I fundamentally disagree with that. Helpful, yes, but as a investment into the community, as a teacher, leader, principal, probably not. So I think a lot of this, if there's negativity around yard duty, I think it's completely a mindset. Now, if you've come into the Teachers Lounge today as one of these negative Nancys about yard duty, sure, fine. Like, you do you think you, whatevs. But perhaps a paradigm shift in your thinking about yard duty being a burden to your precious time, maybe it's to it being a time opportunity to be engaged and a positive member of your school community, building culture, building relationship, and helping the legal requirements that basically keep your school open in the first place. All right, I think we're done here. Yard duty, tick. There's actually a lot more we can pack into that. And we talked a lot about the visibility of principals and leaders and a lot about the opportunities that yard duty can bring. So hopefully you've been inspired or found something useful in the dialogue here. Again, we're on the Teachers Lounge. We've finished up. Bell's gone. Time for the next period. But please continue this conversation. Bring it up with your colleagues. Tell me your thoughts on yard duty. Why is it important? How is it bigger than just child-minding shift? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, questions in the Facebook group Teachers Lounge, Teach, Lead, Inspire. But until next time, I'm going to leave thoughts there. And that's it. So as always, you do well. There we go. Thanks for listening to this episode release of the Teachers Lounge podcast. I really do hope you've enjoyed the dialogue. The information discussed today was just that, information only. It's not specific advice. If you take action on something you've heard today, it's important to make sure that you get professional advice about your unique situation before you proceed, whether that advice be legal, financial, accounting, medical, or otherwise. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or if there is anything I can do to support your teaching or leadership journey, whether it's another topic you'd like discussed or one-to-one support. If you do know someone that would benefit from listening to this episode, please remember to tell them about it, share the episode with them, or connect us on socials. I trust you're encouraged in your role, your leadership aspirations, and your ability to serve and inspire. That's it. Go do well.